I did find the glue, but I had to think, where was the last time I used it? And then I remembered. It was when we were making the case for the model ships. And there it was, upstairs. I am estimating that probably 18 to 20 hours has passed now. Probably closer to 18. And we are looking at the same spot as the last snapshot that you saw there. And our glue is a tiny bit soft if you push down hard. But I think for all intents and purposes, these pieces are not going to break off of our plywood. Now, yesterday we were talking about white balance and how this green cloth is affecting our, the way the auto white balance works. Now, in the back of the camera, there's a menu button. Most cameras like this have something like that, only you're going to see a slightly different display. Now, we're going to go down over into the movie mode, because I take video far more than I take snapshots. Okay, and now we're going to go in here and we're going to find white balance, and there it is. Now we're going to go over, and the options for white balance is you can choose the color temperature. Now I've already done this. Okay, now what I've done is I've locked it in so that it is just one notch up from normal. Like this would be, just watch right there. You'll notice how this goes up and down. Okay. Okay, that is a 0. I am just one notch towards the green. Now you would think that would make it more green, but I think it would make it actually less green. I'm just going to try that, and we're just going to lock it in there. I'll just press OK. Okay, now we can just back out of here. Okay, right now, as far as I know, our camera is locked in at just one setting. We'll just see if that improves things or if it's going to, on occasion, make it a lot worse. Now, I was just thinking about this setting change that I made, and I might well have been better off to have had it adjusted to neutral and just have it locked in to neutral, because I do believe these lights that I'm using have a color temperature of about 5,000 Kelvin, which is what I've got the temperature setting for in the camera. However, anyway, I think what was happening was, do you remember, first of all, do you remember those old TVs that we used to have when color TV first came out? And every time you changed the channel back in the 50s or the 60s or even the 70s and 80s, if you had the old CRT type, picture tube, every time you changed the channel, you'd pretty much have to adjust the hue. We used to call it the red-green hue, but actually I think it was probably green-magenta. Because I think that's what it was magenta. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So anyway, what I think was happening was my camera would see all that green. It would think to itself, "Oh my goodness, this is way too green." So it subtracts the green, or maybe adds magenta to the scene. And the green might look a little better, but everything else, like the hull of the ship, for instance, it would take on this sort of magenta, purpley, hue to it. And I think that's what was going on. Anyway, I'm rambling on here and I'm sort of thinking out loud. It could well be that I'm going to have to reset the auto balance, or lock it in rather, to just neutral, and see how that works. Anyway, so far I've only taken one scene, so I can't really tell how it's working out. Anyway. Okay, as you can see, we have a pure white background going on there. And I'm looking in the monitor right now that's on the model table, and the color appears to be correct. I have the camera opened up one full f-stop to compensate for the fact that the background is white. And I think it's going to expose our rudder almost perfectly. And from what I can see, I'm not going to have to do any touch-ups here. Got some dust or something on there. Okay, that's the problem with the macro lens. Every little piece of dust shows up. Well, I guess that's a good thing, right? Now, if you're seeing this on your display the same way I'm seeing it on my computer monitor right now, you're seeing this hull red pretty much exactly the way it really is. Now, it is under intense light here, so it is maybe a little bit brighter, but that's the hue. Okay, I think I've got everything lined up here correctly, because this is the very first time I'm trying our hood in the Bismarck's Cradle. And yeah, I guess from now on it's the Hood's Cradle. And if I have to do a retake, I can't honestly say this is the first time. So here we go. Very carefully now. Don't scrape the bottom on anything. Oh my goodness. We don't have too much wiggle room there, do we? Well, let's not wiggle it too much and rub all the paint off the bottom, Ron. But that's pretty good. It's, yeah, I think it's going to be alright. There's enough room to work on the deck here. It's about the same as it was on the Bismarck, if I remember right, the clearance here. Okay, well, that's the way it's going to be. Now I can move it around and slide it around, and I don't need to worry about, scraping the bottom on something sharp. Now, one of the viewers was suggesting, in fact, that's been suggested all throughout the Bismarck build as well, clear coat the hull, with flat clear. And I'm thinking about that, but if I'm going to do that, I should do it now. I don't know. Okay, so where are we now? I think we're on step 5 here. Okay, yeah, we did all that. Yeah, I do believe we're on step 5. Well, step 5 wants us to make some little pieces up here that later on, I guess, get mounted on the deck. However, I guess we could go ahead and make those up, but obviously we can't put this stuff on. This stuff right here goes right here. And obviously we're going to want to have our deck finished before we glue those down. Didn't we conclude that it was going to be easier to build the superstructure parts complete before we glue them down? Yeah, because it's a lot easier to, there's going to be stuff going on top of here. So I don't know if I'm going to want to be gluing these down right away. Yeah, finish them. What goes on top of them? Well, some of the parts have to be glued down, like these little parts here, like this piece right here. It appears to me that it's probably going to go right here. But we got to do something about the deck. Yeah. Deck tan, XF78. Now, what about Nigel's idea? It was an excellent idea. I just don't know if I want to take out that much time. Now, yeah, once again, I'm thinking out loud here. Let's just see how hard would it be to cut little strips of masking tape. I had an idea the other day for cutting little strips of masking tape. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm sort of thinking about it. But that would mean I'd have to paint the deck 3 times. The darker kind, and then rip off a few of the strips, and then a light kind, and then rip off some more the rest of the strips, and then spray everything with the deck tan. It's a real good idea, but this is a huge deck, And I don't want to spend a huge amount of time doing that. To me, the Bismarck deck looked pretty good. At least it was pretty good for me. Not museum quality, but it was pretty good for me. The day before yesterday, I had ordered some stuff from Amazon, and what it was those little micro adapters, or whatever you call them, that go on top of your, or over top of the spout on your CA glue bottle, so that you can just minutely or apply just a small amount of glue. I had been hoping they'd be here today, but it looks like they're not going to make it, so I guess we'll be looking at them in tomorrow's video. Anyway, it gives us something to look forward to. They are out for delivery, but my experience is with stuff that's going to be delivered in 48 hours, it usually doesn't come in the morning of the second day. It usually comes in the late afternoon or evening. Now you should be able to see the comment here, and one of the viewers had asked a question. And about the best way I can think of to answer that question is just measure it, and you're just going to have to look on the tape here. You can see it in inches as well as in centimeters. Now that should be fairly accurate, because my lens is more or less in center line with the black stripe, the boot the boot line. Okay, so yeah, what you see is what you got there. Keep in mind though that the hull is sitting on that plastic wrap, that bubble pack, and so consequently it may be about 1/8 of an inch higher than the tape measure is. Anyway, there you go, my friend. I hope that answers your question. Just as I was editing out this last scene that we're looking at, I noticed movement in my surveillance monitor, and I looked up, and here's our little package. It's being delivered. Unfortunately, it's too late in the afternoon to really do anything about it properly, so we're going to have to look at it in tomorrow's episode. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and all being well, we will see you tomorrow.